30-minute music hour. I'm Andy Moore from Milwaukee, Wisconsin. Trapper Chef!
Hear the whispers turn to roars along the countryside. It soars. Ain't no jet nor evening train ripping across these great plains. No foundation strong enough. No wall or valley is too tough, and it will blow your house down the block, toss you like a tomahawk. It's gonna feel like end of times. Got Tommy riding nature's rhyme. No brick road is gonna bring us home. Oh no, Tornado Alley. Oh no, Tornado Alley. Doors have all left their hinges. Father's gone on drunken binges for Mother Nature's victory. Confetti sky flying debris. So take my Harley Davidson and all of my 6-string Gibsons. You can take my house, all I've got. Just don't touch down on Maddie's block. We said I was holding her down, but she's on the outskirts of town. No brick road is gonna bring us home. Oh no, Tornado Alley. Oh no, Tornado Alley. Look out! Oh no, Tornado Alley. Oh no, Tornado Alley. Oh no, Tornado Alley. Oh no, Tornado Alley. I've lost my way. Won't you stay with me a while? I've lost my way. Won't you stay with me a while? I've got a bad back, pins and needles in a stack. Won't you please tell the nurse medication makes it worse? You can close the windows, shut the shades. You can try and numb the pain. I don't want x-rays, just want you to hear me say, I've lost my way. Won't you stay with me a while? I've lost my way. Won't you stay with me a while? My mouth is dry, my legs are weak, my ivy's running like a creek. On a scale of 1 to 10, don't ask me that again. Well, maybe Saint Mary will help me carry every pound. If I get up, 'cause my head's I've lost my way. Won't you stay with me a while? I've lost my way. Won't you stay with me a while? I've lost my way. Won't you stay with me a while? I've lost my way. Won't you stay with me a while? I've lost my way. Won't you stay with me a while? I've lost my way. Won't you stay with me a while? This one is called Don't Go. It's about a ranger and a Valentine. Another southern boy trying to get a degree. Signed off his name to the military. He enlisted like his dad did before, cause he didn't want to stick around with his home no more. He said, son, stand up straight, stand in line, like when they called my number back in 69. Don't wait around no more, boy, for World War III, cause no one's too innocent for enemies. Don't go, don't go. Don't go, my baby. Don't go. Don't go. Don't go, my baby. Met a southern belle on the cheap seats in a lawn at a Heartbreakers concert. They kissed on the last song. It didn't take long till they were saying I do. And solemnly swore to be on it too. She wore a long white dress, he wore his uniform as the water was rising on the Arabian shores. He watched the towers fall, knew he'd have to go. The honeymoon could wait no more. Now he said go. Don't go, don't go, don't go, my baby. Don't go, don't go, don't go, my baby. My baby, don't go, don't go, don't go, my baby. Don't go, don't go. He wondered who he was fighting for to be free. He was staying up for days, taking amphetamines. You know you don't have to live like a refugee. But he said the army life is a lie. Every time he'd salute, he looked down at his wedding band. Every night he thought he saw a face in the sand. One night he left his post, stumbled into the dark. Only took a footstep, didn't even need a spark. She said, no, don't go, don't go, don't go, my baby. Don't go, don't go, don't go, my baby. Don't go, don't go, don't go, my baby. Don't go, don't go, don't go, I wrote this one last Valentine's Day. Lydia looked like a pretty nice girl. I thought that would give it a whirl. Sat down by her at the orientation, said she was studying public relations, putting a spin on things for politicians, athletes, adult stuff. Yeah, I'd sit in the dome on the 17th floor. Philosophy's and friends, such a bore. Hung with the guys on the 16th floor. I didn't see Lydia no more. Girlfriend, girlfriend. It hardly starts before it ends. Girlfriend, girlfriend. The last few letters say how it's been. Well, Jessie was an only child, and I got the feeling after a while she'd been seeing somebody else. Pretty soon be back by myself, eating cereal, watching cartoons, kid stuff. And so I started an investigation, and from the extent of my estimations, found she was seeing my brother's girlfriend. Said we could try to make amends, make it work. Girlfriend, girlfriend. It hardly starts before it ends. Girlfriend, girlfriend. The last few letters say how it's been. Oh, I took Riley on a second date to a movie that started at 8. I got talking, missed the exit time. We got there a little bit after 9. Figured we could do a double feature. But by the time I dropped her off, she was doing her best cough. I went in for a kiss, it was more of a lick. It was about that time she said she was sick. I knew it was just a me. Girlfriend, girlfriend. It hardly starts before it ends. Girlfriend, girlfriend. The last few letters say how it's been. Well, I was hitching a ride across town. A guy my age said he'd bring me around. I told him I was meeting this girl at Mater's. She's got blonde hair and listens to Slayer. Alternative. He said, well, I said she sounds like a girl I once loved. I'm sure it's not the one you're speaking of. When I told him her name was Annalise, he put on the brakes like he'd seen the police. He was real mad. It was scary. Girlfriend, girlfriend. It hardly starts before it ends. Girlfriend, girlfriend. The last few letters say how it's been. Well, I know there's already a million songs about how guys and girls can't get along. I've been seeing a girl I won't name. I sure hope it don't end up the same. But she said she might study abroad and be independent. Well, me too. Okay, so I suppose this next song could be seen as a companion piece to the last song. It's about getting the kissing disease. All the college kids get that. It's about getting it twice. Twice as bad the second time around, I may say. Here we go. They told me I would only get it once, but you shouldn't always trust in the science they prescribe me. showing that you can't always trust in the science. They sent me home. They sent me home with Vicodin. Now what's that crawling under my skin? You're the one I shouldn't have kissed. I'm the one you won't miss. You're the one I shouldn't have kissed. I'm the one you won't miss. You're the one I shouldn't have kissed. I'm the one you won't miss. You're the one I shouldn't have kissed. I'm the one you won't miss. Thank you, live studio audience. They don't just chime it in like on Seinfeld. They don't even have to try.
The song is called Ogallala, and it's about our trip home from the West Coast on a tour and being stranded in a town called Ogallala, Nebraska. They shut down the interstate, and Trapper indulged in some NyQuil and the new Hobbit movie. And those two forces combined, some psychoactive wizardry and
Part science, part art, you know, they come together sometimes real nicely to create songs. Isn't that right?
One of them.
This is one of them. Here we go. Ogallala. 1, 2, 3, go. In the headlights, a semi jackknifed. I felt alright when they shut down. I-80 pulled over to the shoulder. Took a winterlude in a snowed-in mood. I saw a movie, An Unexpected Journey. I felt like Martin Freeman when he was first leaving. Now I'm waiting for the road to thaw. Waiting for the road to thaw in a town called Ogallala, 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 oh. Then he got the best rate at that Super 8, and I dreamt I'd skate with sugar on the black ice. It felt like yesterday. Oh wait, it was, I was under the LA sun. Wish I'd got to Omaha. Wish I'd got to Omaha. Not Ogallala, 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 oh. Well, I watched the news at 9. Saw a car that could have been mine. It was crushed like a can. Travel safe, said the weatherman. Now I'm waiting for the road to thaw. Wish I'd got to Omaha. Not Ogallala, Ogallala, Ogallala. Ogallala, Ogallala, oh, oh. Ogallala, Ogallala. Ogallala, Ogallala, oh, oh. Waiting for the road to thaw. Wish I'd got to Omaha.
of this last song is Tuning Our Guitars. In the business we call show, you gotta end with your strongest one, you know? In post, will you edit in good jokes? Okay. Now it's called Settling or Sleeping Around. At the end of this street into a slab of wet concrete. I've been on this block for years now, and all my friends keep asking me how. And may the fathers come with their trucks and trailers to take the daughters who just say, see you later. The guys will wait on their front porches, bursting at the seams with flaming torches, settling or sleeping around. Nobody seems to be making ground, staying in or skipping town. Is it free love or just sleeping around? But they'll all be back for Independence Day to trash this town, then go away. You've gotta wonder what brought them here anyway. I've gotta wonder why it is that I stay settling or sleeping around. Nobody seems to be making ground, staying in or skipping town. Is it free love or just sleeping around? Sleeping, sleeping around. Well, if these walls could talk, they'd say a lot. But I'd rather run than take a walk. Bust from these burnouts and